Hi everyone, YouTubers. I'm doing my video today. This is Bedford Prison. I'm going into the history about it because I'm doing a live in a couple of weeks about a woman called Sarah Daisley, who was born in 1819, and she was hung here back then, known as the Gull, in August the 5th, 1843 she was hung. She was only suspected of, but not tried for the poisoning of her first husband and son. She was treated for her second husband. She was trialled for her second husband and found guilty, and was the only woman to be hung here in 1843. I'm doing a true crime live on it in a couple of weeks. So if you're not doing much that evening, please pop in and join me. Bedford Prison was designed and built by a man named John Wing, born 1956 to 1826. The prison was built in 1801. This road here was known back then as Gull Lane, but is now called Silver Street. John Wing's original building had cells known as the Turnkey's Lodge, hot and cold baths, an oven to purify infected clothing. They had a silent system which was enforced they enforced it like a lot. Wooden partitions were placed between any two prisoners in work on the treadmill, and separate exercise was only given in the yards, and meals were eaten in the cells only. Bedford Prison has been since expanded in 1849 and 1990. In December 2009, an independent monitoring board done a report saying there was concerns over the high number of prisoners serving life sentences. The report praised the mental health care provision, the prison staff, the prison's food and hygiene standards, also the levels of respect the staff and inmates had towards each other. In June 2010, a woman prison officer, aged 27 then, was convicted and jailed for 2 years after having an intimate relationship with an inmate. She also smuggled mobile phones, food and tobacco into this prison. In September 2012, Bedford Prison had the highest suicide rate out of any prison in England and Wales during 2011 and 2012. 4 inmates committed suicide between that year. On the 6th of November 2006, the police and emergency services were called to the prison due to a prison riot. 200 prisoners protested against lockdowns due to staff shortages. Prisoners were claiming accessing drugs was easier than getting their bedding and clothing into this prison. The basics like soap and toilet paper were not being supplied to the prisoners. Some of the prisoners said they developed a drug problem whilst being in prison, and prisoners were being locked in their cells for 23 hours out of 24 hours a day. The Howard League for Panel Reform is a registered charity in the UK. It is the oldest panel reform organisation in the world. The charity began in 1866. Andrew Nelson from that charity said, "Personally, I think why the riot started is because if you're telling people they will spend 23 hours out of 24 hours of a day locked in basically a toilet, then you're breeding a lot of boredom and frustration." The riot caused £1 million of damages. Following the riot in May 2018, inspectors found the prison was making no progress, sorry about the noise everyone, and special measures were put into place. In September 2018, Peter Clark activated an urgent protocol as inspectors found high levels of violence, inexperienced staff having difficulty controlling the prison. He also said in the last 7 years there had been frequent changes to the governors in the prison, and the prisoners were in control, choosing when to comply, breaking the rules. There was a smell of drugs in all the wings. There was a rat and cockroach infestation and 116 assaults on staff during the 6 months from May 2018 to September 2018. He also said it was so overcrowded and the living conditions were bad. Bedford Prison today is a local prison holding Category B male prisoners who have been remanded from Luton Crown Court and all magistrate courts in Bedfordshire. The term local is that the prison holds people on remand to the local courts as well as sentenced prisoners. They have a split regime operating in the prison, offering work and education on a part-time basis. There's a daily library, a gymnasium available. The prison has a listener scheme to the prisoners who may be at risk from suicide or self-harm. The prison's visitors centre is run by the Crimston Children and Family Trust, which has a play area, supervised play activity, and there is 2 gardens for the prisoners and staff to go for some quiet peace and prayer time. I've just done this video quickly on Bedford Prison as I live in Bedfordshire and I'm learning about the history of that's coming up in my live in a couple of weeks' time. If you've been to prison or you've been to Bedford Prison, please leave your comments below. Let me know what your experience was like in prison. Sorry, I've had to go on the ground because people are walking past. I don't want to get them in the video. But yeah, please let me know your experience if you've been in prison. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and peace out everyone.